Assalamu Alaikum.
Alaikum Assalam.
Uncle, which story are you going to tell me today?
Inshallah, I'll tell you the story of Hazrat Miqdad Ibn Aswad al-Kindi raziyallahu ta'ala anhu.
MashaAllah, that is great. Please tell me, Uncle.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Hazrat Miqdad bin Aswad al-Kindi raziyallahu ta'ala anhu was one of the companions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was also known as Miqdad bin Amr al-Bahrani. He was one of the most respected Sahabah. Miqdad was a brave young man who belonged to an Arabian tribe named Bahra. He was originally from Hadramaut, Yemen. He escaped from his tribe when he was very young. When he reached Mecca, he worked for a man named al-Aswad al-Kindi. In Arabia, people loved brave and strong men. His master did not have any children, and he soon grew fond of Miqdad. One day, al-Aswad al-Kindi stood amongst the tribe of Qurayshi and said, "I am declaring from this day on Miqdad as my son. His name will be Miqdad bin Aswad al-Kindi. After I die, he will inherit me." From that day on, people started calling him Miqdad bin Aswad al-Kindi. It was the way Arab people showed their love towards someone. When Miqdad was 24 years old, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had started spreading Islam in Meccah. Miqdad too heard about Prophet's mission. Miqdad too joined Islam. He kept his religion a secret. But the Quraysh tribe had started persecuting the Muslims. When this happened, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked his companions to immigrate to Medina. The followers of Islam immigrated one by one or in groups. Miqdad too joined the people and traveled to Medina. He was one of the last to migrate. When he reached Medina, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had already reached there, and he invited him to stay with him. Miqdad once shared a story of an event that occurred while he stayed with the Prophet. It so happened that Miqdad raziyallahu ta'ala anhu and few others were staying at the house of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One day, as usual, they returned to Prophet's house after the day's work. There were bowls of milk left for each of them. Everyone drank their share, but Miqdad still felt hungry even after drinking his share of milk. It was then that Shaitan came to him and told him to drink the Prophet's share as well. At first, Miqdad refused, but when the Shaitan compelled him even more, at last he gave up and drank the Prophet's share of milk as well. As soon as he had finished, he felt guilty. He didn't know what to do, so he pretended to be asleep when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam walked in. When Prophet saw someone had his share of milk, he made a dua. "O Allah, feed the one who feeds me. Quench the thirst of the one who quenches my thirst." Upon hearing this, Miqdad got up. He wanted to be the one to feed the Prophet. He went to the goat to milk them. He noticed that even though the goat had been milked earlier, the udders were full. He milked the goat and gave it to Prophet, and he drank to his fill. There was still a lot of milk left, and Miqdad drank the milk and satisfied his hunger as well. It was a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Miqdad bin Aswad al-Kindi raziyallahu ta'ala anhu also had the honor of being related to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After having trouble getting married for some time, he eventually got married to the cousin of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Thus, they became relatives as well. When the Muslims immigrated from Makkah to Medina, the disbelievers attacked and robbed their houses. The Prophet wanted to bring back the belongings of his people. He tried to reason with the Quraysh in the first place, but they were not willing to listen. The Prophet had no option left other than to declare war against the Quraysh. The Prophet and his companions never set out for war before the Battle of Badr. They had actually set out to recover their belongings. But Abu Sufyan, the Quraysh leader, declared war on the Muslims. This unexpected turn of events called for an important decision and quick resolve, as the Muslims had never fought before. The Prophet Muhammad consulted his companions, saying, "O people, give me your counsel." First, Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu stood up and spoke, followed by Umar bin al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu. But the Prophet was not satisfied, and he repeated, "O people, give me your counsel." This is when Miqdad bin al-Kindi radiallahu ta'ala anhu came forth and spoke, "O Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, execute the plan which Allah has shown to you, for we are with you. By Allah, we will not say to you as the children of Israel said to Musa, 'So go you and your Lord and fight, you two, we are sitting right here.' Instead, we say to you, 'Go you and your Lord and fight. We are with you and will fight. And by the one who sent you with the truth, if you led us to Barkul Ghimad, we would fight alongside with you against those who come before it until you reached it. And we will indeed fight at your right and from your left, and from before you and from behind you, until Allah makes you victorious." Prophet Muhammad was really happy when he heard this. Everyone present there agreed with Miqdad's opinion. The Prophet Muhammad then decided to fight the Quraysh. The Battle of Badr began. The Muslims were full of enthusiasm. They faced the disbelievers with hearts filled with faith. And pretty soon, the Muslims won the battle. The Muslims took the prisoners of war and headed for Medina. Miqdad wanted ransom. He wanted the Quraysh to return the belongings of Muslims in return for their prisoners. The Prophet Muhammad knew this, so he raised his hands towards the sky and said, "Allah, make Miqdad bin Aswad rich with your favor." The enemies used to kill the Muslims whenever they captured one. Prophet Muhammad did not want to be like them. The Prophet asked his companions to treat other remaining prisoners of war kindly. Besides, he released some prisoners without ransom because they were poor, and he asked the prisoners who could read and write to teach the Muslim kids as a ransom. The Muslims fought many other wars, including the Battle of Uhud. The Battle of Uhud was a lesson for the Muslims. They learned a lot from it. They learned how to obey the Prophet at any rate, for obedience to him meant victory and disobedience meant defeat. Miqdad bin Aswad deeply believed in Allah and his Prophet. That's why our master, Prophet Muhammad said about him and about some of his companions, "Allah has ordered me to love 4 persons, and He has told me that He loves them. These 4 persons are Ali, Al-Miqdad, Abu Zar, and Salman." When the Prophet Muhammad passed away, Miqdad was deep in sorrow for many days. Miqdad bin Aswad taught people the noble Quran. His reading became famous in all of Sham. He stayed loyal to his religion till his end. When he was almost 90 years old, he passed away in Damascus. The ziyarat of Sahaba Hazrat Miqdad bin Aswad al-Kindi radiallahu ta'ala anhu is 5 miles from Zinabiyah on the road to the center of present-day Damascus.
MashaAllah, he was truly a loyal companion.
That's all, Abu. Next time, I'll tell you another story.
Thanks. Ma-assalam, Yusuf uncle.
May Allah bless you. Ma assalam, Abu.